The scoreboard in Overwatch 2 displays statistics of each player in the match. Specifically, you're able to see everyone's eliminations, assists, deaths, damage done, healing done, and damage mitigated. For the most part, these stats are tracked accurately, but there have been screenshots going around of Ana players with upwards of 5 million damage mitigated. Now, I don't claim to be an expert Ana player, but something seems off. Under normal circumstances, Ana can mitigate damage with Nano Boost, since it provides 50% damage reduction, but the resulting mitigation is nowhere near 5 million. If we look at the screenshots again, they all share something in common: the presence of a D.Va on the same team. As it turns out, there is an interesting edge case when nano boosting D.Va's Mech during self-destruct. Although many have claimed that the Mech's explosion is responsible for the mitigated damage, it's actually irrelevant. No matter how many times you try, the explosion of the Mech will never increment the mitigation stat. But watch what happens when Baby D.Va dies during self-destruct. Yeah. So why does this happen? As I've mentioned in previous videos, D.Va is technically two separate heroes, Mech D.Va and Pilot D.Va. You switch between these two heroes when entering and exiting her mech, and there are a few interesting side effects of this swap over. The hero portrait on the first-person HUD resets as if you changed heroes. The player's third-person name tag suddenly shifts position to the new D.Va. And sprays are removed and restored across Mech and Pilot forms. Even more interestingly, this behavior diverges between the server and the client. D.Va has long been the source of many programming challenges. Overwatch developers have often expressed how complicated it is to work with D.Va in script. Well, Aaron would be delighted to know that the year is 2022 and there are still bugs resulting from D.Va's two playable forms. When D.Va uses self-destruct, her mech retains the amount of health it had prior to the ejection, as evidenced by the health bar. When Baby D.Va dies while the mech is still alive, the game deals 9,999,999 damage to the mech. It's this damage that's responsible for the high damage mitigation. Ana's Nano Boost reduces this damage by 4,999,999.5, which is rounded to 5 million on the scoreboard. If you perform this twice, Ana will have 9,999,999 damage mitigated, revealing the unhalved value. Although this explains the scoreboard bug, it begs the question: why does D.Va's mech receive so much damage when the Baby D.Va dies? Could this damage be removed to fix the scoreboard bug? To find out, we'd need to see what happens if D.Va's mech survives the damage after the pilot dies. Unfortunately, it's not possible to set D.Va's health in the millions, since the workshop places an arbitrary restriction on this function. The highest we can go is up to about 500,000 in health. I was about to give up, but then I remembered something. D.Va is a plate of spaghetti. So I found a bug that gives D.Va negative 2 billion health. In reality, she has over 4 billion health, but since the value on the HUD is rounded to a 32-bit integer, it overflows into the negatives. And don't worry, this is just a workshop bug. D.Va won't be removed from the game. At least not yet. Anyway, with this much health, the mech can now survive the 9 million damage dealt on death. Let's see what happens. It just dies. Crucially, it cancels the self-destruct explosion. Assuming these quirks are related and this isn't yet another completely unrelated bug, it now makes sense why the mech takes all this damage. It would be counterintuitive to cancel D.Va's ult on death. So if the damage done to the mech cannot be removed, is there another way to fix this bug? I think there is, and it has to do with how pets contribute to player statistics. In the Overwatch engine, entities owned by other entities are called pets. A few examples of pets are Torbjorn's turret, which is owned by Torbjorn, Bob, which is owned by Ashe, and D.Va's mech, which is owned by the Baby D.Va. These objects are excluded from damage and healing stats, but not from the mitigation stat. Let's take Bob as an example. If you deal damage to Bob, your damage stat does not increment. If you heal Bob, your healing stat does not increment either. But if you provide damage reduction to Bob, your mitigation stat does increment. We see this behavior across all pets, including D.Va's ejected Mech. Healing it does not increment stats, but providing it with damage reduction does. If pets were excluded from the damage mitigation stat, it could potentially solve the 5 million mitigation problem. I say potentially because D.Va is the spaghetti queen after all, so there could be more to this than meets the eye. Plus, Bob would no longer provide damage mitigation to other players. But that seems like a small price to pay, given he already doesn't provide damage or healing stats. In any case, this was a pretty fun topic to explore. A scoreboard bug resulting from a D.Va bug implemented to prevent a D.Va bug, discovered using a D.Va bug. It's D.Va bugs all the way down.